You're listening to the Journey podcast. Can reducing our exposure to toxins help prevent chronic illnesses and improve our quality of life? Listen to today's episode to learn about the science and benefits of clean living. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Journey Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. Living a clean and healthy lifestyle is becoming increasingly important in our modern world as we are exposed to a growing number of toxins and pollutants in our daily lives. In this episode, we explore the topic of clean living and how you can decrease your daily toxic load to promote greater health and well-being. Our guest shares her expertise on the various toxins we are exposed to in our beauty products, food, household cleaners, environment, water, and more, providing practical tips and strategies for reducing your exposure and living a cleaner and healthier life. We discuss the benefits of adopting a clean living lifestyle, including improved physical health, mental clarity, and emotional well-being. Shelly Jefferis has been in the health and wellness profession for over 35 years. She is an educator, speaker, and mentor. She's a college professor, but her real passion lies in impacting the lives of others and mentoring them to feel and live their best lives. She educates on healthy, clean living through reducing toxic exposure. Through this, she created Purge Your Pantry, where she provides education and suggestions of ways to live healthier in our homes. Shelly is passionate about sharing holistic wellness with others and has created a program specific for moms to empower them to put their health and self-care as a priority through fitness, wellness, and mindset. Shelly is married with 3 beautiful children of her own and always operates from the mindset of family first. Her biggest love is spending time with her family and her fur babies. She loves to work out, read, and is constantly learning and growing to become the best version of herself so she can in return give back to others and make an impact on this world. Let's meet Shelly Jefferis. Hi, Shelly. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because living clean and healthy is such an interesting space for holistic healing. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Petra. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and I appreciate you having me on today.
Yes, me too. I think this is such an important topic and I can't wait to share a little bit more about that. So for starters, do you want to share a bit about yourself and your story and how you got into all of this?
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, I actually have been in the health and wellness profession for over 35 years. It became a passion of mine when I was very young, a teenager, and I just pursued it from the beginning. I went on to do work at gyms and personal training and went on to get my master's degree. And I have been teaching at the college level now for around 30 years. And in addition to that, I've always been involved with my own business, have had such, I guess you'd say, an entrepreneur spirit inside of me. And I've tended to have jobs and side jobs that have matched the age of my kids. When my babies were babies, I had a business called Stroller Strides. And so we worked out outdoors with moms and their babies, and it was very fun. And then I went on to be in charge of my children's physical education program when they were in elementary school. I did that for a few years. And then I was introduced to a global health and wellness company and became involved with them as well. So there's always been this desire inside of me to work with others, to help others, and to help them improve their overall health and their lives and just have a energetic and life full of joy and zest. And that's always been my goal. So this has been in my life for more than half my life, for decades. And so I'm just really grateful to have been able to work in this area and something that's so critical for people, for the health and just the future of not just our lives, but our families' lives and future generations to come.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And when you're talking about living clean and healthy, what was sort of the biggest motivation or inspiration that brought you into this field? I know that you had some personal experiences that connected you to the toxins and the things that you were living with that you wanted to get rid of, reduce in your life. So, where did all that start for you?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, coming from a background in wellness and health for so many years, I've always been reading and researching and learning and wanting to grow and always become better, not just for myself, but to be able to share information with others. And with that background came with the feeling that, oh, I'm pretty healthy. We live pretty clean. We eat well. When I started to really dive into research and what we're putting in our bodies and what we're exposed to, I kind of started to realize that, wait a minute, it might not be so clean as I think. And what's very, very clear in my mind when I first became very intentional with this is when I became pregnant with my first child, my daughter, and she's now 24 years old. I also have a 23-year-old son and a 17-year-old son, and my family, my children are in my world. And so when I first became pregnant, I started being very intentional with what I was putting in my body. And I know I'm not the only one when I talk about this. That's just such a level of our lives where now we're responsible for a brand new human. And so I started looking more at labels and started to avoid like artificial ingredients and colorings and things that were being put in some of our foods. And I just started becoming more and more aware of that and what I was consuming. So that was really one of the first moments in my life when I went, wow, I need to be very, very intentional about this. And then it was also a moment of, wow, I'm shocked how many products have these ingredients that are not safe for us. So that was really the beginning. I also went through a phase of struggling to get pregnant, especially with my third baby. And that was another time in my life where, okay, what is it? Is it something that I'm doing? I mean, we always think about what are we doing and what could we be doing differently? So that was also a time where I wanted to make sure I was taking immaculate care of myself and my body. And so that would be another time that was really critical for me. And with, by the grace of God and thankful to God, I mean, our third baby came about years later. And so we were blessed with 3 beautiful, healthy children. But those were very significant times. And then a few years later, my mom went into the hospital with what she thought was, she was going in to have her gallbladder removed. And then she came out of that experience with a cancer diagnosis. And seeing her go through that experience and that health struggle, and she ultimately died a few months later, actually on her birthday of all things. And, that just was another moment where I felt like there needs to be more done. I need to take more action and be more proactive and help others understand the need to be proactive. And that started also a very more, I don't know what you would say. I feel like it kind of lit a fire underneath me to do more. But also for myself, I realize, and it's still a very, very big part of my why, is I want to do what I can in my power to take care of my health so that my children don't have to see me go through what I saw my mom go through. And I understand there's never a 100% guarantee, but I feel like if I can do everything that's in my power to do my healthiest, and that's not just being healthy and living life day-to-day basis, but having a quality of life and feeling good and being healthy as much as I can and the best that I can up until the end. I mean, we all will have an end of life, of course, but my heart is wanting to be here as long as I can and feel as great as I can and also prevent my children from going through what I did with my mom and seeing her struggle with that illness. And eventually, finally, she just couldn't fight any longer. And then about 10 years later, I went through an experience with my dad, and, it was very, very emotional. He had various illnesses that he fought towards the end of his days. And it was a little bit different for him as he was dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes. He was having challenges with his liver. And it come to find out he actually was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver, fatty liver, which for those of you who might not be familiar with that, it's not so much related to alcohol. And I'm not saying my dad didn't enjoy his alcohol. He was a professional jazz musician and a very, very fine one at that. And so he definitely had his fun. But in his case, it was more related to the food that he was eating and had been consuming for years. So it just finally caught up to him. And so, he was a fighter. He was a fighter at the end, but it just finally got to a point where he just couldn't fight any longer. And so, again, I saw both of my parents struggle with illnesses and diseases at the end of their lives. And, I don't know, could it have been prevented? Part of me believes it partially could have been in some cases. Obviously, that's not something we'll ever know for certain. But again, that was another moment in my life where, I need to keep going. I need to keep going for my family and doing everything I can to be healthy for myself and my family and our future families. But also, it also lit a fire in underneath me to pursue my passion of sharing this with others and helping others live their best lives and live their healthiest lives, and helping to encourage others to be proactive and do everything that they can in their control and in their power to take care of themselves. Because when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, no one else is going to do it for us. We have to take those steps. We have to be proactive. We might put our trust in others. We might put our trust in doctors and nurses and, dare I say, government, but we know, and I'm not bashing doctors and nurses in any way, shape, or form, and there are a lot of good people out there, but there's a lot of information out there that's not so good. And there is that tendency to put a Band-Aid on it, if that makes sense, where here, take this, do this, rather than really getting to the root of the issue and the root of the problem so that we can take care of it once and for all and move forward and live our best lives. And that's a lot of what has gotten me to where I am today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it sounds like you've had a very profound journey while you were coming into the clean living and finding out more information and doing your research on things. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with the listeners.
Absolutely.
And you found out that healthy and clean living didn't just include nutrition, and it didn't just include our food. What other things did you run across that contribute to sort of the toxic load that we absorb every day and the things that are around us? What did you find out?
Yes, that's such a great question, Petra, because it initially started as strictly what am I putting in my body as far as food wise and nutrition wise. And then it started to open up kind of the floodgates, if you will. I knew about water. I kind of had a little bit of an understanding about other products, but I really started to, and this was actually right around the time that my mom became ill, is I started to become more proactive with what we had in our home, what were we using for cleaning products, and finding out about so many that are full of chemicals and toxins that are so, so bad for our health. So that started back then. So cleaning products, becoming aware of the fact that everything that we're putting on our skin is getting absorbed by our body. So whether it be lotions, face creams, soaps in the shower, shampoos, the list goes on. So whatever we're putting on our body is going in our bodies. Also, I have found like a clean crafted wine. I mean, I like to share that too, because yes, some of us enjoy a glass of wine or two here and there. And when you start to learn about store-bought wines and how they are processed, it's really mind-boggling. So there's that. I have found like non-toxic air fresheners and non-toxic candles. I mean, I love candles, and to realize years ago how lighting those candles, that's actually putting chemicals into the air and into our homes and into the environment. So I have found a couple different companies who actually create non-toxic candles. So that was a huge victory and level of excitement for me to find that. All the way to nail polish. I have discovered a non-toxic nail polish that I love. And I know we were discussing earlier, even like toothpaste. I mean, the list goes on and on. So when we start to really think about products that we use on a daily basis, and then start to think about how could we make some changes? What are we like potentially being exposed to? And I think that's my big mission, is just bringing about awareness to others. Because I tell you, even having the health background, it was years into my profession that I really became aware of all of this. I mean, it's literally been in with the last maybe 15, maybe 20 at the most years. So about halfway in to my profession, I became really proactive in this whole topic of finding these products that are cleaner for our bodies, cleaner for the environment. No toxins and no chemicals and no artificial sweeteners, all those things that can be so detrimental to our health. I just really, really strongly believe is just having that awareness is really the first step to taking action.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really great point, is that once we start becoming aware of the massive amount of chemicals that we put in and on ourselves every day, and I mean, that includes our children. So if you're, buying laundry detergent or you're buying anything for your children as well, right? That also transfers to them. Shower gel, shampoo, anything that you pick up, you're starting that toxic load for them as well. So becoming aware to be able to understand what is in these products and then being able to make the changes. I think that's such a hugely important point that you made.
Yes, it's really critical for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, when we talk about the toxic loads, and obviously we have talked about rising costs of living also that people are contending with, and the energy crisis and all sorts of things that are going on. So how does this compare, cost-wise? If you're on a budget, is this a feasible thing to do, that we can swap out the conventional products for something organic or natural? Because organic usually is a little bit more expensive. So how does that work if you're on a budget, Shelly?
Yes, and that's such an excellent question, Petra, because, I'm very conscientious of that, as we all are, especially in the economy that we are in currently. And also I'm very sensitive to the fact that a lot of my population that I have spoken to and I've taught to over the years are college students. So, and that just goes across the board though. When you have college students or a lot of my clients, their families, I mean, we all have these expenses and everybody is dealing with it in some way, shape, or form. So I think it's really important to find what works with you, what's going to work within your budget. And are there some things that maybe you can give up to free up a little extra money to be able to put towards healthier versions of whatever it is that you need to purchase as far as food products, cleaning products. I know that many times you just have to kind of find maybe 1, 2, maybe even 3 different places where you can go and shop and get your groceries and be able to determine, okay, this place I know I can get produce for a very good price. At this place I know I can get my meats for, kind of just doing a little bit of cost comparison. It might take a little bit of time up front, but it pays off in the end, because then I'm going here for that. I'm going there for these products. And then also keeping your eyes out for specials and any items that go on sale. I mean, I kind of made a little bit of a joke earlier that I have my favorite organic creamer. And of course, it's gone up in price. I think it's like doubled in price in just the last year. And when I see it on sale, I'm like grabbing it and I'm putting it in my freezer. And my daughter was home the other day and she opened the freezer and she says, "Why is there coffee cream in the freezer?" So I'm stocking up. When it's on sale, I'm stocking up and putting it in my freezer. So, it's one of those things where I appreciate the investment and the expense, but it's the investment now. The investment into our health now is so, so critical, because down the road, years from now, what is it going to look like? Because I tell you, if we are going to not take steps now and it's potentially going to lead to illness and disease later, that's going to be a far, far larger bill than what we're going to be doing today. That's something that we don't always think about, especially for the younger generations. We don't always think about the future in those terms, but I think it's important to really be aware of that, because we know we get into hospital visits, long-term care, those cares for elderly, the home health care, whatever it might be. And again, I will always say it's never 100% guarantee that those things aren't going to happen, that we're never going to get sick. But can we take steps today, preventative steps today, to lessen the chance? And I firmly believe that we can. And I really also believe that we can make some different choices in our day-to-day lives and adjust things, maybe just a little bit, tweak our spending in certain areas a little bit, so that we can purchase some of the cleaner, healthier choices for ourselves and for our families.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it was Martin Meadows that said, you can either make time for your health now, or you can make time for illness later. So that seems to be really fitting in this situation, is that if we don't invest now, then we will get a bill later on for the things that we're doing today. And so if there are some listeners still on the fence, kind of wondering why they should clean out their pantries a little bit, look for different products, what are some of the effects that these chemically laden and toxic products can have on our health? Like, let's talk physical symptoms, obviously, but also is there some mental and emotional connection to that?
Right, absolutely. And I think we get into our day-to-day lives and we get to a point of kind of acceptance of how we're feeling. Maybe we're not feeling energetic. We're not feeling 100% ourselves, but sometimes we just think it's normal and we come to accept that's just how it is. I can tell all the listeners that the majority of the time, that's not how we should be living our lives. That's not how we should be feeling. We're meant to be feeling alive and energetic and being able to enjoy ourselves. And when we are feeling sluggish, foggy brained, lack of energy, struggling to lose weight, release body fat, struggling with our sleep, having headaches, those are all symptoms of toxicity. And then it leads to potentially illnesses down the road or in the near future, quite frankly. Another area that we know we're up against is we know that many of our bodies have a lot of inflammation. And that is, again, directly related to what are we putting in our bodies and what are we being exposed to? And we know that inflammation leads to disease and illness. So as far as some of the more serious illnesses, absolutely. I'm a firm believer, and I've read a lot of information about this, that I have a quote in one of the books that I have read that's written by a doctor who has done a tremendous amount of research in this area. And I think her quote and her statistics is that 95% of cancers are related to toxins, what we're exposed to, what we eat, what we put in our body. So, there's so much that we don't know. And I feel like there's probably a lot that's not being shared outwardly, possibly. So then it comes to, it's up to us to take the action and maybe do a little research so we can learn about it for ourselves, so that we know and we can take steps for ourselves and our families and anyone that we come in contact with, and just share the information, because it's an ongoing journey. And I share that. And that's the case with our wellness, as you full well know, Petra, because you're a wellness professional. It's never a perfect scenario or situation. It's an ongoing journey, and it's never perfect. But, as long as we're striving to take care of ourselves and do the best that we can and still enjoy ourselves along the way, it's not meant to be, oh, I can't have that. I can't have that. I can't enjoy myself. No, we want to enjoy our lives, but we want to feel good doing it. And, having the energy, having the quality sleep, being able to handle and manage stress, that's a whole other episode in of itself, right?
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
these are just some areas where we're affected. And I think many times we don't realize, I was in that situation where I didn't realize how much better I could feel. I always believed and felt good, energetic. And then I made some adjustments in my nutrition a few years back and started doing some cellular cleansing. And I went, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I could even feel this much better. So coming from someone who has the education and the experience and has been involved in the profession, I had that experience of going, oh my goodness, I feel wonderful. I didn't realize I didn't think I felt bad before, but I had no idea how good I could feel. And I really, really believe there are so many people walking around with that, just not realizing how much better they could actually feel, how much more energy they could actually have. Right. So that's to me really, really huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with you, Shelly. And back to the awareness that you were talking about, right? Raising that awareness and helping people realize what is happening so that they can take steps to change that. So very, very important. Now,
Absolutely.
you also have created a wellness mentorship program for moms. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and what that is?
Yes, yes. It just brings a huge smile on my face because I just love being a mom, and I'm, passionate about motherhood, and I'm passionate about health wellness. And I just wanted to combine the two and create a program for moms to just give them a safe space and a community where they could learn how and gain tools and education and inspiration on how to put their health and their self-care as a priority. I feel like when I talk to moms or I hear about moms so often, we a lot of times put ourselves on the low end of the totem pole, right? We're taking care of everyone else and we neglect taking care of ourselves. And I even hear moms say, oh, once my children are older, or once they go off to college, or once they do this, once they do that. And I want to say, no, we don't want to wait. Because again, we have to fill our cups. We have to take care of ourselves so we can take care of our children, so we can be there for our kids as they get older. And to me, I feel so strongly about this. And so I have created a program that focuses on the fitness side, nutrition, the mindset, and it will be a mentorship program where moms can be a part of this group and learn not just education, but learn from those of us who have been there, who have that experience like myself. But I'm also going to bring in guest trainers and coaches who specialize in gut health, hormone health, mindset, meditation, all of these things that can just really, really add to our overall wellness and just really make it stronger and in a more important part of our lives so that we really put it as a priority so we can really be our best selves for not just ourselves, but for our families, quite frankly, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like an amazing program that you're putting together. I hope to hear more about that in the future. And
Thank you.
do you also work with people who are not moms? Do you have any other programs or services that you offer?
I do. I actually am partnered with a global health and wellness company. So I definitely work with individuals specifically in the area of their nutrition and helping them make better choices as far as that goes. So I have been involved with that for probably about 8 years. So I do that. I also love, and this isn't something I talk about a lot, but both of my boys are athletes. So that's a whole other topic as well, is helping athletes make good, clean choices for their bodies, right? So that they can not only be healthy, but be clean and be able to have the energy and the strength and the power to do their sport and keep up with the demands of being involved with a sport and being athletes. So that's something that is really, really big that I like to share. And, it depends on the population, right? I have certain people that have certain needs. And so I like to really work with them as much as I can. So, I'm open and I love helping anyone and everyone. And so I encourage anyone to reach out, and I'm happy to help in any way that I can, for sure.
Amazing. And we will be linking to all of Shelly's offerings in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there on the ways that you can get in touch with her. If you'd like to work with her or you'd like to speak with her, you could check there and look at all of her links. And this has been another incredible episode. And I really hope our listeners have enjoyed the journey into clean and healthy living as much as I have. I really feel like this is such an important topic that we need to talk about more because it connects to both our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. And so it has been fantastic chatting with you today, Shelly. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Petra, so much for having me on. I so appreciate you inviting me to be on, and I've enjoyed speaking with you so much and sharing with your listeners. And I hope that I've had some impact on some of your listeners so that they can become proactive and just live their best, healthiest lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Before we close off, let's give a couple of resources to listeners that I think might be of interest to them. So first of all, I know that you have a list that people can look up for their groceries. So do you want to talk about that really quick?
Absolutely. So there is a list that you can actually Google and find online, and it's the I want to say Clean 15, but I think they've upgraded to maybe Clean 16. And it gives a list of specifically produce items, so fruits and veggies that you want to purchase organic, because the list is sharing with us those items that are highly exposed to pesticides and chemicals. So for example, apples, strawberries, potatoes are on the list. So I follow that list, and whatever's on that list, I make a point to only purchase organic. And then there's another list that comes aside with it where maybe you don't have to purchase those items as organic. They usually are those fruits and veggies that maybe have a thick outer covering, let's say a banana or a melon. So obviously it's a personal choice, but I find I have followed that list for many years. It's been a very nice, simple guide that I use and I've shared with others to be able to make just some simple choices now today when you go out to the market and go, okay, maybe I should get my apples organic, or maybe get this product organic. So really, I find that really, really helpful. The other real quickly offering that I do share that I will mention is I have a program, a coaching session called Purge Your Pantry, where I jump on a Zoom call with you and we go through your pantry and your refrigerator and just go through the items that you have. And then I make recommendations of items that maybe you want to swap, maybe you want to eliminate. Or maybe I can say, okay, this is really good. Or I can make recommendations on an option that might be a healthier option for you and your family. So I do also offer that coaching session.
That sounds great. Actually, so do you go with like a camera or something and you look, if it's online, you look in the pantry or the fridge? I love that.
We jump on Zoom, and then the other person just takes me through the computer into their kitchen and their pantry. And I mean, I could go in person, but it just works to do it through Zoom. And then I also, after the fact, will come up with some ideas. If I don't have anything on the spot, I'll research it and find some suggestions of alternative healthy options for them.
Oh, I love that. Wow, what a great idea.
Thank you.
I'm going to add one more resource here for our listeners, and that is the Environmental Working Group. And I'll be sure that we link these lists and resources also in the show notes. But if you go to the Environmental Working Group, you can actually find a database where you can enter your beauty products. So if you have shampoos or you have any makeup products or, shower gel, things like that, you can enter the name in there and the brand, and they will give you a rundown of all the chemicals that are in there and whether they're harmful or not and how clean the product actually is in terms of toxins. So you can go there and enter your products and kind of get an idea of what's lurking around your home. So you can use that as a resource as well.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you for reminding me. I meant to bring that up. That is such a great resource. And I know there are actually apps available, and I haven't gotten in the habit of using them as frequently as I would like, because it just kind of comes more natural for me. So I think that might be something. I'll find a couple apps that might be of help too, and we can add those into the show notes as well.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea. I think that a lot of people always have their mobile phones with them when they're out shopping and stuff too, right? So that's really helpful if they can look it up. So
Yes,
we'll do that.
absolutely.
And we'll link all of that. So yeah, I think wonderful episode. And thank you so much for all these great ideas and the resources that viewers can actually walk away with today and take some action in their lives to have a more clean and healthy life. So yeah, thank you, Shelly. I truly appreciate it. And thank you again for your time today, and take care of yourself.
Thank you, Petra. You do the same. And I so appreciate you having me on. Thank you again so very much.
My pleasure, Shelly. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Journey podcast, please subscribe, share on social media, and leave us a 5-star review. You can find more of The Journey on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the Journey blog. Sending you love and courage, and see you next week.